Hey guys, welcome. Paul from smokeandpellets.com here. Today we are looking at pork shoulder on my Traeger Pro Series 22. For those of you who haven't seen my videos before, I am a non-chef, non-cook who bought himself a Traeger Pellet Smoker and is now smoking everything that I can get my hands on. And today we are looking at pork shoulder. Same area of the pig as a pork butt, I think just slightly down a bit from where the pork butt comes on the pig. But as far as I can tell, the meat acts the same, works the same, does the same, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, quacks like a duck, etc. So what I've done with this shoulder is I've already trimmed most of the fat cap off. There was a good layer of crackling skin on top, which broke my heart as I cut it away. But it's gone. Just cut off a lot of the top fat as well. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put it on the Traeger. It's actually night time here. Because I haven't cooked pork shoulder on my new Traeger yet, I don't actually know how long it's going to take. So I want to put it on fairly early in the morning. This is a 2.5 pound shoulder, which is about 5.5, 6 pounds. This is 2.5 kilo. 5.5, 6 pounds in imperial terms. So I'm expecting it to take around 6 to 8 hours. If it behaves like any other shoulder in a smoker. I've got a charcoal smoker which I've used for a while, but never a pellet smoker. It'll hit a stall at about in Celsius about 50 degrees and run through that till about 60 to 65 to 70. I would like to get this to around 100 to 105 degrees, which is around 225 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to cook it at 107 degrees Celsius, or around again 225 degrees Fahrenheit, because that's what the setting on the Traeger has. So that is, and it's too high for the next one up. So I'm going to do that. All I'm going to do with it this evening to get it ready for tomorrow morning is I'm going to put a rub on it. A lot of videos and stuff I've watched, and I've done it myself in the past, put a mustard or something on to bind the rub. I'm not going to do the mustard today for two reasons. One, I don't have any. I thought I did, but I don't. And two, I don't really like the mustard flavour on it myself, if I'm being honest. Again, a lot of things I've read will say you don't taste the mustard. I do. I've used French mustard on it and Dijon mustard, to be honest, and yeah. Anyway, neither here nor there. I've seen people use hot sauce on there as well. So I've already made my rub as well. This is my own personal homemade rub. It has in it, and I'll put this below in the post and on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. In it, it has chili, smoked paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, cumin, salt, pepper, and brown sugar. And that is what I've always used. I don't have any store-made rubs at the moment, and I'll get them and try them all out. So all I'm going to do is put that on and smother that all over the pork. So that is well and truly covered. It's all over my feet on the floor. It's everywhere. And then I will pick it up and sort of get all the underneath stuff on the bottom as well. Now, because this is boneless, you can see it opens up there. I can put a little bit inside if I want. I don't normally, but there is some fat in there actually I might cut away. I don't want to cut too much away because you do need some fat in there to break down. This is actually a little bit fatty on the inside, which means it will stall for a little bit longer. But I've got all the rub on there. This is where the binding helps, because if you've got that binding on, the rub actually sticks to it a lot easier. You can sort of mop it all up with the pork and the binding and do all that as you go. So there's a reason to use the binding. I cook it in the hole like that. I have tried opening them up in the past. They tended to dry out on me. Another thing I haven't done here is I haven't injected it. Doesn't tend to be as big an issue with the shoulders when you've got the bone cut out, because there is area in there that all the moisture and the fat can sit inside. With a pork butt with the bone in, you might inject it. If you're going to inject it, I've injected these in the past, and if I'm being honest again, I haven't really always noticed the difference in moisture, but next one I'll inject and see how we go. What I have made up here though is a spritz. So this is 2 parts water, 1 part apple cider vinegar. And for the first probably couple of hours of the cook before I wrap it, probably 3 or 4 hours or 5 hours before I wrap it, I'm going to go in every 20 minutes, half an hour, and spray this with that. Just open up the lid, spray it till you can see all the glistening goodness on it, close it, and off you go. That's how I'm going to cook it. See how we go. As I mentioned, I'm sort of working with enough information or enough knowledge to be dangerous here, so I'll leave that overnight and let the rub get into it. Get up first thing in the morning. I'll probably set an alarm to get up about 5 and take it out so it comes down to room temperature pretty much before I put it on. I want to try and put it on about 6 or 6:30. That gives me plenty of time to get the cook done, to get it rested, and not have my family yelling at me at 8 o'clock at night to get some food. So that's that. Comment below any questions, and I will see you later on. Obviously, I'm not going to record when I put it in because it's 6 o'clock in the morning, but I will let you know how it's going throughout the day. Okay, have fun. See ya. Okay, so we are out with the Traeger now. I've had this smoking for about 5 hours now, and it's only just gone through its stall. It's hitting up about the 67 to 68 degrees Celsius. I didn't look up what that was in Fahrenheit, I'm sorry, so you might have to look that up yourself, but it's starting to come out of its stall. So the only reason I'm really showing you this at the moment is to show you what I did with the Traeger, because we're talking about using the Traeger Pellet Smoker. So I lit it up this morning. I got it to 107 degrees Celsius, which is about 225 Fahrenheit, and I used my own probes here, even though the Traeger does come with it, mainly the fact that this one has Wi-Fi. One thing with the base model Traeger that I bought, there's no Wi-Fi on it, so that's why I did that. Anyway, back to the pork. So it's been on here for about 5 hours, just starting to come out of the stall. So what I'm going to do now is take it off the smoke and wrap it. Now, this is something that I always have done with my charcoal smoker when I did pork butt or pork shoulder in there. And the idea is that after a certain amount of time, the meat isn't going to absorb any more smoke anyway. The alcohol gives it the opportunity to get some moisture in it, protects it from drying out and so on and so forth. So all I'm going to do here is open that up. I will take that probe out, which I knew was going to be hot, and it is. What I'm going to do though is with this spritz I've been using to spritz the meat, I'm actually going to open that up and pour a little bit of that into the tray. One thing I did do that I nearly forgot about to tell you was when I came out this morning, I actually made the last minute choice to put a little tray with some water in the, I'll just close that while I'm talking, a little bit of tray with the some water in it underneath the grill plate. One thing with this is you need a narrow plate because it's not wide enough. I tried to fill one of these with water and it's not wide enough, so high enough. So just something to be aware of if you're using this model. The water goes in to add moisture inside the smoker as it's cooking. Keeps the meat moist and stuff like that. A bit like when I talked about injecting the pork earlier in this post, but that's what I did. So the proof will be in the pudding at the end anyway. So let's open that up. As I mentioned, I put some, which I think I just spilled everywhere a second ago, some moisture in there. Going to take the pork off. It's still quite hard, which you would expect. It's nowhere near ready to pull at the moment. At about 68 degrees, it's never going to pull at that amount. So that's something that I read and do a lot when I see about people talking about working with pork and the like, is that they get worried that it doesn't look like it's going to pull. It's not going to pull yet at all. So just going to cover that. Head into the alfoil. Then make sure that's nice and tight in there. Then all I'm going to do is open it back up, put it back in, get my probe, stick that back into the meat, and just make sure that probe picks it up okay. Yep, saying 69 degrees there again, so that is all okay. Well, actually went 69 because it was out open anyway. So yeah, so that's all done. So all I've done there is after 5 hours. Now that can vary depending on the size of the pork and how much fat content it has inside. The more fat content, the longer your stall is going to take. I mean, again, I've seen in forums and online people talking about this, that some stalls can take up to 5 hours. Depends on the size, depends what the fat content is. As I mentioned, this took about 5 hours, but I normally, when I'm working in Celsius, just look to see if once it hits about 50, it's when it starts to stall. And it did that about 2.5 hours ago, and it's starting to click up now. As soon as I see it starting to click up, that's when I cover it and off it goes. So I'll see you in probably about 3 or 4 hours. I'll let it get up to around that 100, 105 mark. Then I'll pull it out. I'll let it rest in a cooler for as long as I possibly can before I get hassled by my family that they're hungry. And then we'll pull it out and see how it looks. Speak to you then. Okay, we're done. So I've taken the pork out of the smoker that we looked at before. It's been in the cooler for about an hour and a half now. Now all up, the cook took about 11.5 hours, which is a lot longer than I was expecting. But I did get it up to about 105 degrees, so I'm taking that off now. A lot of moisture in the thing. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's a lot of moisture in that container. I'm actually going to tip some of it out because it'll go everywhere if I try and keep that in. Now, test time. So I've got my little Wolverine claws out, and as I start to pull this apart, you can see that has pulled apart absolutely perfectly. So that is literally falling apart. I can see some smoke ring on that, and we can see the bark on the top of this one with the smoke ring underneath. That is still very hot, but as you can see, that is just falling apart. So my first Traeger pulled pork has been extremely successful. So for those of you who are looking to, if you're new to the whole pellet smoker thing, we talked earlier in the video about how we set it up. What I did to keep it nice and moist like it is, so that's very moist, very nice. As I mentioned earlier, I put a water tray underneath when I smoked it the first time. The key, I think, to this one was, even though it took a little bit longer than I was expected, I was patient with it and left it. I pulled porks out of smokers on my old charcoal smoker everywhere between 88 degrees and 105 degrees. To be honest, they've never really pulled apart like this one is. This one's really just falling apart. Wish I had those little black halves so I could just do that. But anyway, so pulled pork on the smoker, rub it. I spritz it with alfoil. I put some water underneath. It's up to you whether you do or don't. It's up to you whether you put binding on underneath the rub. It's up to you whether you inject the pork. I didn't do binding or the injection on this one. Cook it till it gets to about 100, at least 100 to 105 degrees Celsius. That would be around 225, 220 maybe Fahrenheit. I see that they come out, a lot of people in the States pull them out about 195 Fahrenheit, so they can come out earlier. My understanding is the earlier you pull them out, the longer you got to let them rest as well. So anyway, pulled pork on the Traeger, big hit, very happy with that. Have a look in the post below for all the details of the recipes and all that sort of stuff. If you're watching YouTube, please like and subscribe below as well. That's it. Talk to you soon. Bye.